of Madsen versus Maher. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat, ma'am.
Miss Madsen, you and the defendant were married for how long?
15 years.
And how long are you divorced?
About 3 years, 4 years.
You have a 10-year-old daughter together.
Right.
Do you have any other children?
No.
Do you, sir?
I have a stepson.
But you have no other biological children?
No.
According to your complaint, Miss Madsen, your judgment of divorce provides that your former husband pay 1/2 of any unreimbursed medical bills.
Correct.
In addition to child support.
Mm-hmm.
And he does pay child support faithfully, according to your answer, sir. Is
Yes,
that right?
Yes, ma'am.
How much do you pay in child support for your daughter?
$420 a month.
And according to your complaint, you have liberal visitation with the child.
About 30% of the time.
Give me the times. Is it weekends?
Wednesday, overnight, weekends, split holidays, half Christmas,
And you avail yourself of all of your visitation?
as much as I can.
Is that true?
He doesn't on all of them. The last 2-week visitation he had, he only took a week.
But most of the time he sees her every
most
week.
Of the time. And he's always there on time.
Good. All right, Miss Madsen, you say that he has not paid some of the unreimbursed medical bills.
Correct.
I'd like you to tell me which bills those were.
Here, I have a summary on top so you can see. Some of them are for prescription. Some of them are for therapy, for speech therapy. Some of them are for the deductible on the chiropractic.
Well, let's talk about all these bills. These are very heavy bills without looking through them. Does your daughter suffer from any handicap?
No.
Then why does she have all of these medical bills?
These bills are over about a 2-year period. They're not just in the last 6 months.
Even so. First of all, can you tell me why the child goes to a chiropractor?
Her back hurts, and her neck hurts.
Who suggested that a chiropractor was necessary for a 10-year-old child?
No one. I go every week, and she had complained for about a year about her back. And I suggested that she give the chiropractic a try, and if it didn't work, that we wouldn't do it anymore.
Why do you go to the chiropractor every week?
Because I have slight scoliosis, and my back hurts, my neck hurts.
Quite frankly, Miss Madsen, I never heard of anybody taking a 9 or a 10-year-old child to a chiropractor because their back hurt if it was undiagnosed by a doctor as a specific problem. Your first response should have been taking the child to an orthopedist, having a set of x-rays taken, and if it was something that had to be addressed by a chiropractor, it's addressed by a chiropractor. Let's hear about some of these other bills that you have.
There's medication for Ritalin. She's been diagnosed as ADHD.
When was she diagnosed as ADT?
She was diagnosed by her pediatrician, her therapist, by 2 separate therapists.
Which
and by
therapist?
her, Dr. Andrea Christensen.
When was that? How old was she when she was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder?
7.
And what prompted you to take her to a therapist?
I'm a teacher, and I work with first grade children at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm aware of how children are when they don't pay attention.
So you're telling me that the child has been on Ritalin for 3 years?
Right.
Was she retested?
Yes.
When?
This last spring by her teacher.
By who?
Well, her teacher fills out a paper having to do with her ability to pay attention.
Teachers don't make evaluations with
No,
regard
they don't
to
make evaluations.
whether a child needs medication.
You're absolutely right. They do not. But they do report to the doctor whether the child is able to stay in her seat, whether she's able to complete her classwork, and how she is performing.
Well, I would assume that if you've had the child on Ritalin, that the child was doing fine.
Right, she is.
So if the child was doing fine, why wouldn't you want to try to wean her off the Ritalin at age 10 to see if it was a problem of short duration?
She has, from time to time, not taken her Ritalin when she's gone to school in the morning, not known to me. And I've gotten a call from the teacher that night wanting to know what was going on with our daughter and why she was so inattentive at school.
Yes.
How old was she when that occurred?
This is just this last year.
Why wasn't I informed?
Don't talk to her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Ritalin is overprescribed. You ring a bell, 40% of the class gets up or runs into the nurse to get their pill.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 48-year-old Don Marr says his ex-wife Judy Madsen is turning their 10-year-old daughter into a hypochondriac, and he will not be responsible for unnecessary medical bills.
Office visit, Dr. Walker. Who's Dr. Walker?
And that's her pediatrician.
That's on the 5th. Is that a... We don't know what that was. That was June 5th of 96.
It was probably a check on the Ritalin.
Well, then you
Oh,
had,
you know, it's
you had
probably
another
95.
office visit. You had another office visit less than 6 weeks later, the same doctor.
She suffers from chronic ear infections and allergies. And she has had episodes of problems breathing. And at one time she had a fever over 5 days, and she was tested for valley fever. And
What kind of fever did she have over 5 days?
apparently it was a virus. But at the time, the doctor thought it might be pneumonia. She
Well,
sent me
pneumonia
down.
you check by going for an X-ray.
We went and had an X-ray,
And?
it was clear. And the doctor
So?
suspected that it was
So
just...
then it wasn't pneumonia. If you had the X-ray, and the X-ray is clear, then you know you don't have pneumonia.
Correct.
So then it's something that goes away.
But it didn't go away in 4 days. And so...
Sometimes it doesn't go away in
Right.
4 days.
Well, and I called her back,
it
and
takes
she
a week.
tested her for tuberculosis and valley fever, both of those.
But it went away after 5
Right,
days.
right.
So all that was really unnecessary to put the child through all of that stuff.
Well, the first initial visit wasn't unnecessary.
The next one is May 18th of 95.
Right,
Prescription multivitamin fluoride.
right.
What is that?
It's a fluoride tab that is prescribed by her physician, supported by her dentist, for healthy teeth. Fluoride tablets that she chews after she has brushed her teeth. She has hypercalcified teeth.
Then we go to therapy, Christensen. There are several therapies that prior to that.
Right.
What kind of a doctor is Christensen?
She's a family therapist, and I took her initially with the divorce.
Why are you still seeing, she's still seeing this Christensen in 1996?
There has been a death in her
death of
grandfather. Her grandfather passed away, and she had difficulty dealing with that.
When was that?
That was almost a year ago, in
My
September.
father, Your Honor, died in September.
Yeah, but she's been going to see this Christensen all along. It didn't make any difference whether there was
Since
a death
August
or
of
not.
'93.
According to your bills here, it's at least every week that she goes to see this
At
therapist.
first it was. It was almost every week, but now she goes about once a month.
Ventolin.
That's for asthma.
She has asthma?
Yes.
She been diagnosed as having asthma?
Right.
Do you know anything about that, sir?
Never witnessed it, never saw it, paid for the appliances, paid for the stuff. I've never seen that little girl wheeze. I've seen her have a runny nose. That's it.
Just a second.
It's absurd. I see her a third of the time.
Just
I
a
just
second.
should witness at least one episode. You'd think.
Miss Madsen, I'm just reading this over because I was disturbed when I read these papers, quite frankly. And I wanted to look through your records. Let's take 1996. You have an office visit with the pediatrician on February 13th of 96. You have an office visit with the pediatrician on February 28th, 96. You have an office visit with the pediatrician on March 15th of 96. You have an office visit with the pediatrician on April 1st. As a matter of fact, there are 2 office visits listed